listeners with the word. AM 590 WEZE Boston.
It's God's side and the other side. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. Hey, everybody get exposed.
I think we're on. Major Way Sports Network here, 9 o'clock. If it's 9 o'clock, we're here. And it's a busy day today, so we're going to get started right away. Snap, crackle, and pop. Here we go. We're going to start off with prayers for victory. And, prayers for victory. What are we in? Chapter 3, taking the helmet of salvation. Okay. Actually, the sword of the Spirit. Okay, let's snap, crackle. Let's just get this thing done. Probably the most important thing, but let me just get it right. Lord, when I give you thanks, I am being obedient to your word. Your word says in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, to give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you. And whatever you do in word or deed, do everything in the name of the Lord, giving thanks to God the Father through him in Colossians 3:17. I'm to give you thanks even when things are not going as good as I think they should, because your ways are higher than mine. I'm going to trust in your vantage point rather than mine by giving you the thanks even in times that cause me pain. I thank you, Father God, invoking the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen, 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 amen. And speaking of prayer, we're going to move right into a mighty man of God who died the other day. Last night, as a matter of fact. Mr. George Foreman. Speaking of prayer, George Foreman, who died last night, was born in Houston, Texas. Won the gold medal in the heavyweight division at Mexico City in the Olympics in 1968. He defeated Joe Frazier, and we're going to play a clip of that, Joe Frazier. As soon as I can get that for you, ladies and gentlemen. There it is.
And we'll find out tonight
yes.
Just how good George Foreman is in punching and in taking a punch. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. The heavyweight champion is taking the mandatory 8 count, and Foreman is as poised as can be in a neutral corner. He is as poised as can be. We have a minute left in this first round, and already this fight is proving out what some have expected. Foreman has not panicked. Foreman is going about his job. Foreman is all over Joe Frazier. Frazier is down again, and he may be. No, he is rising. He's up, and so the fight continues. 3 knockdowns in the first round by George Foreman. Oh, he is all over Frazier again. He has Frazier in the corner. Frazier's knees buckled. He is down. He is down for the 4th time in the fight. George Foreman is doing to Joe Frazier what he did as a 19-year-old to a veteran Russian, a fellow named Iona Shapulin, in October of 1968 in the Mexico City arena. It is over. It is over. It is over in the second round. George Foreman is the heavyweight champion of the world.
It's one of his high points, ladies and gentlemen, George Foreman. But 1 year later, he would lose the heavyweight title to Muhammad Ali. And after that humiliation, Foreman, he retired from boxing. But that was not the end. Now for George Foreman. It was actually the beginning of a new and improved George Foreman. George formed a church ministry and became a street preacher. He actually went out on the streets of Houston and he preached the gospel of Jesus Christ to anyone who would listen to him. And his church grew. George got back into boxing again to fund his ministry. And this led to George winning the heavyweight title again, 20 years later after he lost it. During this process, George became a spokesman for a party called the George Foreman Lean Mean Grilling Machine. George Foreman became a beloved and revered public figure, a businessman, and a philanthropist throughout America, while always giving the glory to God via Jesus. In his rags to riches fairy tale life, George Foreman showed in America, anything is possible. And with God, it becomes probable. Thank you, George Edward Foreman. I think we can snap out of that. How do we snap out of it?
A legend. There we go.
Well, that'll do it. Well, here, ladies and gentlemen, we're just going through a couple of typical. There we go. The two beautiful faces you see on the screen are me and Kevin. And Kevin is back.
Good to be back. Thank you.
And, well, let's just do it today in history. Get right today in history because we have a lot to do today. Today in history. Today in history, on March 22nd, 1967. Speaking of a guy that was just earlier mentioned, the heavyweight champion of the world, Muhammad Ali, defended his title, knocking out Zora Foley in 7 rounds. This would be Ali's last fight as champion before he was stripped of the heavyweight title. Our question is, me and Kevin's question is to you, who did Ali win the heavyweight title from in the year that he did it? And on March 22nd, 1984, Mr. Brian Trottier tied the National Hockey League record 5 seconds into the game, which means he scored a goal in only 5 seconds. The puck dropped, and he grabbed it, and he skated to the end of the length of the rink, and he shot it through the goalie's hands in 5 seconds. But he's tied with 4 other guys. No, 3 other guys. He's tied with 3 other guys. So our question is, name the other. Name one. Just name one of the other 3 players that he shares the record with. And that's it. We can get right on to the next subject because we got to go.
Jam-packed show today, that's for sure. And we want to give everyone the number, of course, 844-249-5247. And given the fact that there are so many things to talk about, from the Celtics to the Red Sox opening up just in about a week here.
Yeah.
We look forward to that.
Thursday.
We have the NCAA March Madness tournament going on right now, round of 32 happening starting today here on Saturday afternoon. And, of course, we have the Patriots to talk about NFL free agency. So we encourage y'all to call in, but we're going to move the calls along. So we want to ask you to be brief as possible when you call in today to the show. But
844-249-5247, 844-249-5247. Get ready, and we're going to go to a commercial, and then we'll come back, and we'll be ready for your phone calls. Ladies and gentlemen, how would you like to feel better, stand straighter, and enjoy daily activities without pain? Then look no further than Karma Don Yoga. As one of the more accomplished yoga instructors in the New England area, Karma embraces many different styles of yoga, including vinyasa, slow flow, yin, and restorative, in order to tap into your pranic energy and create a balanced mix of healing, stretch, and strength. Find her and her very affordable classes online at karmadonyoga.com. That's karma, like good karma, bad karma, dawn, like the morning dawn, yoga.com. I think we're going to go into the next one, just get it out the way, because once we can get this out the way.
we're doing another commercial.
Oh, yeah, we're going to do it back to back.
Okay, here we go.
Hey, are you feeling a little achy or sore from the cold weather? Then take a visit to Dylan's Russian Steam Bath. At Dylan's Dry Sauna or Wet Steam Room, you can de-escalate, de-stress, and detox your body and mind. A hot place of massage or a variety of oil massages are available. You will enjoy the relaxed atmosphere that features a nutritious snack bar, large screen television, and comfortable lounge chairs to cool off in during your visit. They have 2 convenient locations, one in Chelsea and the other in Quincy. Find them online at Dylan's Russian Steam Bath or Call 617-549-3484 for more information. To enjoy your best health, visit Dylan's Russian Steam Bath, where heat, steam, and water have a therapeutic effect. And truly does. Try Dylan's Russian Steam Bath and Commandant's Yoga. You won't go wrong. Okay. Generally, we would do the Bruins, Kevin's Corner on the Bruins, but we're not doing that anymore for the rest of the year.
Nah.
No, we'll just move on.
No comment.
We'll just move on to the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics, which is Clay's Corner on the Celtics. And the news is the sale of the club. Who is William Chisholm?
No relation, by the way. Just want to put everything out there. Some people would text me saying, "Oh, any relation?" I said no.
I think there's some relation. I could see the resemblance.
No,
like
there's not.
Distant cousin. He grew up in Georgetown, and you probably went out to visit him a couple of times when he was young.
I wouldn't even No, I don't spend time up in Georgetown, but that's okay. But Bill Chisholm, yes, Celtics sold for a record $6.1 billion.
Yes.
To a guy that really, Clay, in terms of, billionaire circles, of course, we don't hang around in those circles.
But you don't. I do.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah,
all right then. Yeah. I guess you do. Something I didn't know about
still,
you.
He's a low-key guy for a billionaire.
I didn't know who he was when I saw the name. And thank God for me, it's not John Henry and the Fenway Sports Group that bought the Celtics or even expressed interest in buying the Celtics. Yeah. And we'd be seeing Jayson Tatum in a Laker uniform, I think, in the next 2 years if that happened.
Year and a half.
But and Jeff Bezos too. I know. I'm glad he doesn't bring his Amazon crew to the Celtics.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with Amazon.
No, I'm not. I'm not suggesting it is. I'm glad. I'm glad we continue to sort of go under the radar with the Celtics. I mean, Wick Grossbeck has been an under the radar owner for the Celtics. He has been a vocal supporter, obviously, of the team, and he's been there when it's needed and given the money when it counts. Let Danny Ainge and Brad Stevens do their jobs and
heck of a job
in drafting, developing, and signing players. And at least for the past 10 to 15 years, with the exception of 1 year, it's working, and it has been working. And so let's hope Mr. Chisholm comes in. And it just feels weird saying Mr. Chisholm because so many people can't pronounce my last name and call me Chisholm, so it's odd saying that. But
what do you mean? There's a difference in the name?
Yeah. Oh. It's Chisholm. I'm Chrism.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know. We only see each other once a week. I know. It's okay. But anyway, let's hope he comes in and continues what Rick Grossbeck has done and has let his president of basketball operations do the job and do the job well. And we know he's as Clay mentioned, Massachusetts guy.
Yeah.
A longtime Celtics fan. Obviously had $6.1 billion laying around somewhere. So it's nice to have that chunk of change.
It's over in the corner of the room, corner of the den. So
I'm
the library. It was over in the corner of the library of the house. So, this guy he went to Brooks School, attended Dartmouth College, played on the soccer team there, graduated Dartmouth, received a Master of Business Administration, MBA at the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania, and like Kevin Chisholm said,
thank you.
He is a fan of the Celtics, and we look forward to him being the new owner because you want somebody who wants the team. And I think Wick Grossbeck's dad owned the majority share of his share, and he didn't want to be part of it anymore. He wanted to cash in. So in cash in, he did.
Well, you want someone who also knows the team as well, and that's always a good thing as well. And we don't see that enough in the sports world where we have owners that are actually buying teams that they grew up watching
and liking.
And with the history of the Boston Celtics, it's encouraging to see. So let's hope that he comes in and continues the continues the trend of what we're seeing here.
And speaking of the Celtics, they've won 3, 4, 5 in a row.
4 in a row.
The Cavs have lost 4 in a row, and right now, with 12 games left, they're just 5 games behind the Cavs. Do you think they should try to make a push?
Well, it's an interesting dilemma. The Celtics right now have obviously won 4 games in a row, 9-1 in the last 10 games. They had a huge win out in Utah last night. They continue their trek out in the Northwest tomorrow evening on Sunday up in Portland. Jaylen Brown missed last night's game, going to miss the game in Portland as well with a knee injury. So,
good.
Clay, I think the Celtics are certainly in a dilemma here where we're for the one time this year, we're seeing the Cleveland Cavaliers start to falter a little bit here, and we haven't. We've been waiting for it
toward the finish line.
Right, we've been waiting for it. We've talked about it. When is Cleveland going to start to fall? If they are going to fall,
I love it.
They certainly hadn't shown that at all this year, and they're starting to show a little bit of that.
Starting to teeter-totter.
Remains to be seen in the next 12 games here as we head to the playoffs. If that 4-game stumble rather is a continual stumble, or that's just or just a little bit of a fluke.
They start going head first instead of stumbling. They start staggering.
But I mean, I think right now, Clay. I mean, I'm content with the Celtics staying the course, playing good basketball. Don't push the envelope too hard, because if you do that, well, you could have a significant injury to Kristaps Porzingis or somebody. And the Celtics are very lucky when they have a team right now. But I'm not going to say they're a healthy team, because I don't think they're a healthy team. I think at any point, any one of these guys can go down with a significant injury, and that's just the way they are. And we've seen all year, really, with Drew Holiday, with Porzingis, even with Tatum and Brown at times as well, sitting out a couple of games.
Yeah, sit them down. I'd like to see more Baylor, Shireman. I'd like to see more. And Peyton Pritchett, as I said last week, it is your time to step up. This is your time, because you have to get it done.
Right.
Because coming into the playoffs, it's going to happen. They're going to put pressure on everybody, and you're going to have to prove that you are that guy, that you are worth a bigger contract, not just a $6 Man of the Year, but a bigger contract. So we have that guy. Sam Hauser has to take a bigger role, and the guys that they've signed. There's two new guys that they've signed, and these guys need to take a bigger role. They have NBA experience. They're going to need to be the guys to step up in these last 12 games and make a name for themselves and for the team, get it done, and go into the playoffs with a rocket tied on their back, ready to go.
Well, don't forget about Luke Cornett as well. Let's go to the phones and talk to our good friend John, who's calling in this morning. John, good morning. Welcome on in.
It sounds like to me everybody's talking about the Celtics, but I'm a little ticked off about the sale. I mean, the Celtics are losing one of the best owners they've ever had with Steve Paliuca. Now, Clay and Kev, do you remember back in like 1978, the days of John Y. Brown?
Well, I do. I think Kevin was just born then.
No, this is about 22 years before my time.
It was a long time ago. John Y. Brown was the mayor of Kentucky, the governor of Kentucky. He was married to sportscaster Phyllis George.
Yes.
And they just ran. They were just guys with a boatload of cash, came in, thought they could run a professional sports team, and they made the Celtics into the laughing stock of the NBA. Who is this guy?
This guy's born. He's born in Massachusetts. He's a real Massachusetts.
I was born in Massachusetts too, Clay. Clay, I was born in Massachusetts too. That doesn't mean I can run a little league team.
Well, if you got $6.1 billion laying around, John, you can own the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
Right, but what I'm trying to say is, Paliuca did a great job in his 20 years. He put a bid in. Now, we don't know what the bids are, but I think it should be public records to find out what the bids are. If he came up only 50,000 short with his group, I don't know why the NBA wouldn't just give it to one of their established owners, Paliuca, and let him buy the team.
Wait, was it up to the NBA to accept the? Was it up to the NBA to accept the offer? Or was it up to the Grossbacks?
Well, no. Well, I'm sure the NBA doesn't want any undesirable in there with a ton of money. So I'm sure the NBA Board of Governors, they're the ones who okay the sales. What I'm trying to say is Paliuca did a great job here, him and Grossbeck.
Nobody's doubting that.
They were Batman and Robin.
Yeah, they did a great job.
Why couldn't it be like buying a house? Why couldn't Paliuca say, okay, I want to give $6.2 billion?
I don't know.
Here it is, Steve. Here's your paycheck. Thanks for your severance.
John,
good luck. Good luck being in the.
Yeah.
Good luck being in the Vegas ownership group with John Henry and LeBron James, who are going to take over the Vegas expansion.
Well, that's one group. It's one group we're happy the Celtics were not sold to, and that's, of course, John Henry and his group. But Whit Grossbeck was also born in Massachusetts. He was born in Worcester.
Yeah.
So, and that certainly has worked out. So, I'm willing to give Bill Chisholm here and the benefit of the doubt, an under the radar owner here. And I would hope, as I said, if you heard us talk about it beforehand, John, we talked about, allowing, Brad Stevens to continue to do his job, and that is three components:
Right,
draft,
right.
develop, and sign
Right.
talent. And Whit Grousbeck has done a great job of allowing both Brad Stevens and Danny Ainge, particularly on the drafting front of Tatum and Brown, to continue doing that. So, I mean, I think the Celtics right now, knowing what I know about Mr. Chisholm here,
it's Mr. Chisholm, isn't it?
No relation. Don't start that rumor, because I'm not giving any tickets out to anybody or anything.
Hey, Kevin, my brother and I thought you and your father bought the team.
No, maybe in a different life.
We were doing an Irish jig over here.
Well, we'd have a John box if that was the case. You'd be there every night. But
every night.
you and Clay you'd have boxes. But anyway,
I see mine to John. He has the energy.
But no, I mean, listen, John. I understand and agree with what you're saying about Whit Grousbeck and Steve Paluca. But I understand. There was some angst and there's some unknown about this owner, and rightly so. When it was reported yesterday or a couple days ago that he was going to buy the team, I didn't know who he was, but I did breathe I think a lot of us breathed the collective sigh of relief that it wasn't someone like a John Henry or a Jeff Bezos or someone who come in with an ulterior motive and a real agenda.
Yeah,
to bring their own name to it and not the name of the Boston Celtics and the great history that this organization has.
How come we didn't hear Larry Bird's name thrown into this?
He didn't want to spend $6 billion.
I don't think why. Larry's taken a back seat ever since he was running the Indiana Pacers.
I got to tell you a story. When Larry lived in Brookline back in 1978, a friend of mine drove by, and he was using one of those old push lawnmowers from the 1950s. 60s. He was cutting his grass with that instead of like a power Toro mower, and my buddy beat the horn. He goes, "Hey, Larry!" Larry pulled his baseball hat right over his eyes and kept on mowing the lawn.
That's a good story. Well, John, hey, thanks so much. Yeah, we got a lot of topics to talk about today, but I guess the jury's still out on Bill Chisholm, and we'll see what happens. But I agree with you mostly on your comments about the great ownership that both Whit Grousbeck and his team have had in the past many years with the Boston Celtics.
Hey, I just wanted to say one thing.
Go ahead.
I hope Final Four night, I hope we get a matchup of the Patinos. Rick at St. John's, and how about Richard at New Mexico?
That's
They're both going to the field of 32.
That's correct.
I don't think we've ever seen a father and son.
Stop with this father and son. I had enough with the Jameses. I don't need the Patinos.
Well, that's true. Richard Pitino, head coach in New Mexico, and of course Rick Pitino at St. John's, both winning their games and they're advancing. And a great matchup today at 2:40 in Providence today with Arkansas and John Calipari, St. John's, and Rick Pitino. We'll talk a little bit about that later on. But John, thanks so much for calling in. See you around.
All right, guys. Hey, thanks, guys. Usually you guys are the best.
Good man. Thanks, you.
John. We must move into the NCAA.
Well, I mean, if you have any more on the Celtics, I think just one thing, Clay. I think in terms of the dilemma where the Celtics are right now, with 5 games back, with 12 games to go. Stay the course. Continue to play your pace of basketball. I wouldn't rush it. I wouldn't.
Too much. Yeah.
I mean, I would continue. I would continue to do what they've been doing, and that's playing solid basketball, and at the expense of just to get the first overall seed. I mean, I think the Celtics right now are pretty much locked into the second seed, no matter unless Cleveland has a total collapse and loses out the rest of the year.
We'll see.
But and it's just interesting to me, Clay, just too on the NBA standings. You have 6 teams right now in the Eastern Conference with the winning record. That's 6 teams, and you have the other 4 in the play-in games. You have a team, the Miami Heat, who have just fallen off the face of the earth. They lost 10 games in a row. Maybe Jimmy Butler wasn't the problem in Miami, but I kid, of course. And they're 12 games under 500, and they can still make the play-in tournament as a 10 seed.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you have out in the Western Conference, you've had all, with the exception of the Phoenix Suns, 9 teams that are above 500. Of course, 6 get in the playoffs and 4 in that play-in tournament, which I have said on the program here before. Get rid of the play-in tournament. I don't think it does anything good for the NBA, but clearly out west, the Oklahoma City Thunder have had a strong stranglehold over that division and that conference.
Ahead of the second place team?
12.5 over the second place team, Houston Rockets, right now, and they've already clinched the Western Conference.
Good for them. Yeah. Well, let's move on to the NCAA.
Sure. Did you fill out a bracket?
No.
You didn't.
All my information is coming from you.
Well, I don't have much. Listen, I'm not an average college basketball fan. I only really pay attention to college basketball around this time. Of the local team, Boston College is not a strong, basketball school, as I'm sure our friend Wayne can attest to if he calls in today. But as John, our friend John alluded to, yes, we have a great matchup with St. John's facing off against the Razorbacks of Arkansas. John Calipari versus Rick Pitino, two storied head coaches in the NCAA, and of course in the NBA as well, with Massachusetts ties as well, of course. And John Calipari leads the all-time series against Rick Pitino 16-13, and that's 13-10 in the college games, and they have split their 6 matchups against each other, of course, in the NBA. Rick Pitino with the Celtics, and of course John Calipari with the then New Jersey Nets. And if you watch St. John's, they won the Big East. They had a really good year. Pitino, obviously, we know his success at Louisville, had to resign due to some issues with recruiting and things like that, and sort of went away for a little bit, went to the EuroLeague, came back, and has resuscitated basketball in New York City with St. John's.
Resuscitated his career.
In his career as well, but particularly for St. John's in the Big East. And it's really great to see. So that is the matchup that everyone is talking about today, Clay. Number 10 Arkansas against number 2 St. John's. I actually, in my bracket, have St. John's going to the championship, losing to Houston, but 31-4 this year. But you can't count out these teams like John Calipari and the Arkansas Razorbacks, who didn't really have a strong year. They were 21-13 this year. John Calipari, not accustomed to being a 10 seed in the NCAA tournament, of course. Great success at Kentucky. And when he left Kentucky, it was very surprising, Clay. I mean, you don't see, I talked to you off air, when you see guys that have coached for a long time, Kentucky, like John Calipari has, and bounce around in college, NBA, and you finally find your mark. You finally found your mark in Kentucky. Similar to someone like Nick Saban at Alabama.
Right.
When the report came out that John Calipari was leaving Kentucky to go to Arkansas, not only staying in the SEC, but you're not going to Florida, you're not going to wherever. You're going to Arkansas, which is a little bit of an interesting choice, I think, to go to. Yeah. But anyway, money talks, that's for sure. And
Kentucky, I mean, you're talking about one of the storied college universities as far as
that's
basketball
correct.
goes. Adolph Rupp, and goes all the way back to the 50s and 60s. And you're going to leave probably one of the premier programs to go to Arkansas. Wow.
Trying to make his mark in Arkansas and trying to bring Arkansas basketball back. And, he'll continue that trek against his old rival.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Rick Pitino today at 2:40. And I know sometimes our show broadcasts on Sunday mornings on WROL. So if people are listening to this tomorrow morning,
it's already happened.
It's already happened, and we expect it to be a great game in Providence later on this afternoon.
In Providence. These two guys with Massachusetts and New England ties playing against each other in Providence.
Right.
Really gives it a nice atmosphere.
But otherwise, if you fill out a bracket and you took some teams, well, I took Houston, of course, to win it all. Some upsets. McNeese State, Clay. You know where that is? McNeese State. You're familiar with that?
It's somewhere in North Dakota. Somewhere in North Dakota.
It's actually a little bit Lake Charles, Louisiana. So you're just a couple of states off there. And Will Wade, if you remember that name, Will Wade used to be the coach of LSU in the SEC and had to step down due to some issues there. And 28-6 in the Southland Conference, which, to be honest, Clay, I didn't even know existed. A lot of teams talking about the McNeese State Cowboys at the 12th seed, 28-6 this year, defeating Clemson in the first round of the number 5 seed Clemson in an upset. And McNeese State will play Purdue, obviously the runners-up last year in the NCAA finals. They'll play Purdue this afternoon, just a couple hours here at 12:10. McNeese State. Yes, indeed. So we'll look to see
somewhere around near
and
Centenary.
That's also
Robert Parrish's old college in Louisiana.
Yeah. That's also in Providence as well. So some great games. If you're heading in Providence today, and by the way, these tickets are not cheap for the NCAA tournament, mind you, but if you are there in Providence, you're going to see some great matchups this afternoon. 2 games back-to-back between McNeese State and Purdue. And then, of course, the game that everyone's talking about, St. John's and Arkansas. I almost said Louisville and Kentucky because that's what we're so used to saying with Rick Pitino and John Calipari. But we'll see what happens. And John's right. Richard Pitino, Rick's son, who's been around in the NCAA for a while now, coaching New Mexico. They had a big win against a team. I didn't take New Mexico to win this game. They beat the 7-seed Marquette last night, 75-76. So New Mexico will move on to the round of 32. and they will face Michigan State and Tom Izzo tomorrow evening at 7:30, which is going to be a great game. So
there's been some upsets.
A lot of great basketball, Clay, going on. And right now, the ACC, which has been known, obviously, for having some great basketball talent, of course, with Duke and UNC and some other teams as well. But right now, Clay, Duke, the only team remaining right now in the ACC to represent in the NCAA tournament. Very surprising to see. But
anything is possible.
Anything's possible in the tournament, that is for sure. But we'll see what happens today. Some great games going on in the round of 32. And don't count out UConn as well, as they are around as the defending two-time national champions in a row.
Right. Mr. Hurley there.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. Well, before we get to the Red Sox and the Patriots, let's have a commercial so you can catch your breath there because, gosh, you carried it. That was your baby, NCAA. We'll see what happens, but let's cut to a commercial and get that out the way. And that way we can come back and get to the Patriots and the Red Sox. More importantly, the Red Sox.
For not giving me the cue to speak about our friends at Oyama Investments. I thought I was going to did a little recording like you did so well for our friends at Dylan's.
We're going to do that today.
Steam bath and everything. Give me a minute to pull up. It's our good friends at Oyama Investments. I want to thank them again for sponsoring here on the show. And if you're looking for a smart investment, searching for a place to call home, we want to welcome you to Oyama Investments, where your dreams do find a foundation. They're more than just real estate. Well, they're your trusted partner in building a secure future. And whether you're investing in a property that will grow with you, purchasing a dream home, well, they make the process easy, transparent, and rewarding. And they specialize in finding properties that align perfectly with your goals. Imagine yourself owning a piece of the future, whether it be a luxury apartment, commercial space, or a family home in the perfect neighborhood. And if you're new to the real estate investment world, well, don't worry. They're here every step of the way, helping you make informed choices with confidence. And with real estate prices rising, there's never been a better time to invest. If you're ready to see your dreams come to life, visit oyamainvestments.com. Give them a call, 617-221-8881 today, where your vision becomes reality. As the good friends at Oyama Investments.
I'm sure everybody just enjoyed the music.
Thank you. That little musical interlude there. But we're going to go back to the phones, actually. We have... That should be an interesting call. Your friend from Connecticut is on the line. Owen from Connecticut.
From Connecticut.
Good morning.
Where you been, Owen? Good
morning. You know what I want to talk about? I want to talk about the MVP of the NFL.
Okay.
I thought Trump eliminated DEI. That guy wasn't even first team. He wasn't even first team all NFL.
Who is the MVP? Who is the MVP of the NFL, Owen? Could you tell me?
Who put Josh Allen?
Oh, you're not a Buffalo Bills fan, is what you're saying.
It's not. I'm not a DEI fan. I thought Trump eliminated it. Lamar Jackson, hands down, should have been the NFL MVP.
Which one of those guys made it to? Which one of those guys made it to the Super Bowl? Owen, just tell me that.
Oh, not one of them.
Not one of them. So they're both in the same case, and I think Josh Allen was a worthy candidate for it. And well, you just disagree. And there's nothing wrong with that, Owen.
But Owen, it has nothing to do with it. Listen. You do this often here on the show to try to start up a political argument. If you want to do that, go call a different network. But it has nothing to do with DEI. It has more to do with talent than anything. Josh Allen had a better year than Lamar Jackson did. There was no doubt about it. So don't come in here and start talking about DEI here on the show and try to get us on record about something that you're just trying to troll us with. So just don't do it.
Keep it a sports.
You picked the wrong program to do it.
Respectfully, it's not what I'm trying to do. But also respectfully, I think the stats matter, and Lamar Jackson's stats blow Josh Allen's out of the water. That's why he was number one.
Owen, no way. Josh Allen had a better year.
I'm sorry, but the truth of the NFL is if it's an average white player, they want to push him through, and they want to give him this amazing God complex.
Owen, I'm going to tell you what.
Never see any above average NFL players.
Owen, I'm going to tell you what. Listen, call back next week, and we are going to debate on the Josh Allen Lamar Jackson thing. I will have stats ready for you, and we'll be ready to go. Call back next week, and me and you are going to do this. You got that?
Okay.
All right.
Lamar Jackson versus Josh Allen.
You got it. Okay. See you
All right,
next
have
week.
a good day.
Thank you for calling. Bye-bye.
Well, if he calls back, I'm not answering his call, but you can talk to him. We're just not going to have people call in to try to start up political arguments and things that have nothing to do with the fact of the matter is that I think Josh Allen, did have a better year. Maybe the stats on paper don't add up, but I think Josh Allen obviously proven himself to be a better leader and a stronger quarterback than Lamar Jackson.
Actually, I think Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen are two peas in the pod. So don't get me started.
Well, by the way, just for the record too, and I should have stated this, neither were my pick for the NFL MVP. Okay, my pick was Joe Burrow, but maybe I'm a racist too, according to him.
No, don't buy into this crap. But there's always people that buy into the whole ideological racial line, and no, it's usually a bunch of crap. But I will have some stats ready for Owen, and I will discuss it on purely football terms, and wrap it up within 2 or 3 minutes and see if we agree. If we don't agree, then no big deal, nothing lost. Okay. 844-249-5247. 844-249-5247. Ladies and gentlemen, let's snap, crackle, and pop on the Boston Red Sox, which is my team to go to the World Series this year if they get one A-level top-line pitcher and not play around, because they have a bundle of guys that they could use to get this pitcher. Let's start with the outfield. The outfield.
Who's the pitcher you're talking about, Clay? Though I need a name here.
Gosh, I didn't become prepared because I was preparing.
Is it Luis Castillo of the Seattle Mariners? Is it?
It could be any one of those guys. Just a top line pitcher.
So you believe that after trading for Garrett Crochet, signing Walker Buehler, they still need more pitching?
Well, because Crochet's never been in the top line guy, and usually
hasn't been given an opportunity.
Well, if you have it, you have it. You don't need the opportunity. Once you're in the big leagues, if you got it, it shows up, and it has not showed up. Buehler, kind of, but he's coming back for an injury. Kind of, nobody really knows. So go out and get a guy that you know is a horse and group these guys around him. Because the reason why I say this is because they have enough talent.
Right.
They have 3 guys. They're in the top 12 of the whole minor league system. Christian Campbell, Roman Anthony, and
Marcelo Mayer.
Yeah. These guys are great. But not only that, you got William Abreu, who won the Golden Glove, who came out of nowhere and won the Golden. His value will never be higher. Okay, you got Tracy Thompson. You can keep him around.
Trace Thompson's not going to make the team. I'm sorry.
Okay, let's just throw that out. I won't even put him in there for the fight. And Rob Refsnyder, and
who will make the team?
Yeah. Then you got a couple of other people. You also got Sogard. So you have a nucleus of young talent right now that people will want and do want. And right now it's the time to strike for that pitcher if you can. That's my thing. Other than that, they have everything else. They got Rafael. Cedar Rafael is going to play left field. Jaron Duran, center field.
Switch those two. Duran will be in left and Rafael in center.
Switch them any way you want. You got Alex Bregman, Trevor Story at third base and shortstop. Casas at first base. Yeah. Devers DH. Listen, they got a lineup.
And then you got Yoshida too. What do you do with Yoshida as well?
I forgot to put that guy in. That's a 300 hitter. So that's another guy that they could throw in the package.
Right. Well, good position the Red Sox are in. There's no doubt about it. Let's go back to the phones. Talk to our good friend Wayne here. No, Wayne's not going to stir up any controversy here on the show. Good morning, Wayne. Welcome on in.
Never. Good morning, Kevin. Good morning, Clay.
Good morning, Wayne.
Well, I just want to extend my rest in peace to Eddie Jordan from the F1 world. The Formula One season just got started last week.
Oh, gosh.
Tomorrow we have our second race, the Chinese F1 race.
And Lewis Hamilton won the first one.
He won
last week, right? This week?
Yeah. Well, he started P8 in the Australian, which was a rain-soaked race, but he finished P10 to get the last podium points. But tomorrow morning he starts P5 for the Chinese Formula One.
Okay.
And again, Kevin, I heard you about my Boston College both hockey and basketball team had not been doing well.
Yes, that's for sure. Basketball, they had a good year for all things considered last year, Wayne, and just a really bad year, particularly in ACC play this year. which was disappointing to see. But you mentioned Eddie Jordan too. Eddie Jordan, born in Dublin, Ireland, which I didn't realize as well. So tremendous loss in the F1 world.
And the Austin Martin car was a Jordan car in previous life. So his automobile went through several different ownerships, but and he also got Michael Schumacher his debut in a Jordan as well too. So the F1 world lost a giant this week.
No doubt about it. What else is on your mind, Wayne?
Well, we got the Harvard women's basketball facing Michigan, so I got to put my power behind them. So we got to keep it for this region. So let's go Harvard.
This is the most erudite of sports talk center ever. We go from F1 to swimming,
women's basketball, Harvard.
That's unbelievable.
And it's great commentary. It's great. We've got, Wayne talks about these great things that we just don't have time to talk about, which we appreciate. And then we've got our good friend John, who gives us great history lessons of things like that. It's great callers here that make the show. So thank you, Wayne, for that.
Thank you, guys.
Did you fill out a bracket for both the men's and the women's?
No, my bracket would have been on life support because I'm a Tar Heel all the way. I love Michael Jordan, Kenny Smith, and the ACC had not fared well this year at all.
That's for sure.
I know that there was some controversy about North Carolina being in there. It looked like some shenanigans went down to get them in there. But then, like Rasheed Wallace said, ball don't lie, so they got bunked early.
Yeah. Well, I did tell you, I did take UNC to beat Ole Miss yesterday, and of course that didn't happen. Ole Miss sort of took control most of that game. UNC had a late run. I thought the last 3 minutes of that game, Wayne, that UNC was actually going to take over, and they weren't able to, unfortunately, for my bracket at least.
Down 22, coming back from a 22. Oh, they were balling out, but unfortunately, like they say, ball don't lie. They didn't belong. They didn't belong there.
No, they didn't, and they're gone. Going, gone.
That's for sure.
Okay.
Anyway, gentlemen, have a great day.
Anything on the today in history?
No, I'm drawing a blank on everything, but
okay, don't worry about it. We'll move on.
I catch up to you next week.
Catch up to us next week.
Wayne, always a pleasure. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Wayne.
You're very welcome. Have a great day, guys.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay. We only got 10 more minutes left if you want to move on to the Patriots.
We've about 12 minutes here on the show. But so just how the Red Sox are shaping up here with the pitching currently in-house right now. 3 starters, Clay, going to start the year on the DL. Brian Bayo, Cutter Crawford, and the guy I've talked about here on the show before that I was disappointed to see that he's back on the injured list with a different injury this time with the hamstring strain, and that's Lucas Giolito. So let's hope that these guys are not on the injured list for long.
Let's see what happens. We'll see what happens. I know you have a lot of faith in Mr. Giolito.
It's not so much faith in him. It's just they spent so much money to get him, and he hasn't pitched. His 2-year deal hasn't pitched in 2 years. So I'd like to see that and help him with the veteran presence, sort of anchor this rotation. I think you got 3 guys right now: Crochet, Buehler, and Tanner Houck. They just announced yesterday. Alex Cora did. Richard Fitz is going to be the 4th starter, and I'm excited about that. We saw a glimpse of him last year, Mr. Fitz, 4 games starting last year with a 1.74 ERA. I think he was able to replicate that success in a short stint last year with the team. Yeah. Obviously, the Red Sox see a lot of good in him, and I do as well. So I'm happy with that. And for the 5th spot right now, it's between Quinn Priester and Sean Newcomb, sort of anchoring that rotation out.
Gets it right now.
I think a lot of people expect him to as well, and we'll see what happens. But I think for both of them, at least, it's going to be a short stay with whether it's Crawford, Giolito, or Bayo coming back. We'll see what happens. But then, of course, you have who's the odd man out in that? Do you move Cutter Crawford to the bullpen? I don't think you move Giolito or certainly not Brian Bayo to the bullpen. So, it's going to be interesting to see what decisions Alex Cora makes.
It's great to have that luxury. It's great to have a luxury like that, though. I'll put it that way. We'll see what happens, but it's great that they have that luxury that somebody gets moved to the bullpen. That's actually pretty good. So we'll see. And
36-year-old Aroldis Chapman still throwing in the 97 to 100 miles with his fastball and locking down that closer job with the Boston Red Sox.
Kevin, tell me, does he look better to you now?
I think so. Something better than he did 5-10 years ago, maybe when he
looks more
in his prime.
Deceptive.
Yep.
He looks more deceptive now with still 100-mile-an-hour fastball. than he did 5 or 10 years ago. You knew he was going to throw straight heat. Now he has a changeup, and he has a curve, and he has a slider, and he has a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. This could be going places.
I mean, hitters fear Aroldis Chapman, and I'm excited to see what he'll be able to do at age 36 as the Red Sox closer. Because Liam Hendricks, who a lot of people thought maybe he should take over as closer, he's come back with so many battles, such adversity with cancer, with Tommy John surgery, has struggled this spring training. So I think if you supplant and put Chapman in as your closer, I think he rounds up the bullpen nicely.
Yeah, and let's see if this guy can find himself somewhere during the year after going through so many things,
right,
Hendricks, and maybe by the end of the year, he'll be the guy that's coming in and doing the yeoman's work. But let's start off with Chapman and let the other guy take his time.
Right, and the saga that sort of swept through Red Sox camp this year. What's going to happen with Rafael Devers? He wants to play third. Should we DH him? Well, he said, "Well, I'll go wherever." So, he's battled some shoulder injury. Obviously, he sat out at the end of last year having shoulder surgery. We haven't really seen a lot of him in spring training yet. He's just starting to play, and I think, Clay, we're going to see Rafael Devers be the designated hitter for the majority of the year and have Bregman play at third base, and that's just the way it's going to go.
Definitely.
And then the question is, Yoshida. What do the Red Sox do with Masataka Yoshida?
Well,
because he could be the odd man out here.
We're going to have to save that for next week because we need to move on to the Patriots right now.
Maybe he'll be off the team next week. You just don't know what'll happen. No, I'm serious. Who's the odd man? Who's the odd man out here in this situation?
I think they should package him and go out and get a guy. And with that, we're gonna.
I know Clay. Really, you can tell Clay really wants to talk about the Patriots.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. And we have to. The New England Patriots. Everybody's butt of the joke last year, and as well they should be. What with 1 year coming off Bill Belichick and what was the record, 5 and something or 6 and something, and then they went to Gerard Mayo and fell even lower. Yes, they were the butt of the NFL. But this year they look good. They're making a lot of changes. They're bolstering up the offensive line. I think they've had 13 additions, and 6 of them have been offensive linemen. 9 of them, so that's actually 15. And 9 of them have been on the defense. So they're really going after the offensive line to make a difference. They're going to need it. But I think they're trending in the right direction. And some of the pickups they've made on defense are quite good.
Well, I think they're definitely trending the right direction on the defensive side. The question that I have is, and sort of a concern I hold too, is the fact that, we've talked about on this show, and most Patriots fans, if not all, have talked about this. We talked about, surrounding Drake May with weapons, especially with wide receivers. And, you brought in Matt Collins, that's fine. But you have him. You have Kendrick Bourne.
Who's this guy Collins? I mean, does anybody really know? Is he any good?
He played for the Bills last year.
Didn't make a difference?
Well, yeah.
Well, anyway, sorry about that interruption.
Five touchdown passes, a career high last year. So, receptions rather, 5 touchdown receptions last year. So we'll see. But obviously, Demario Douglas, Kendrick Bourne, and Keyshawn Boutte there. But, they tried to sign Chris Godwin. That didn't happen. T. Higgins didn't seem like much of an option. It seemed as though he was going back to Cincinnati. The one guy I wish the Patriots did really try to make an offer for and really try to get, which, again, behind the scenes, I'm not sure how much they tried, but was Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp being released by the LA Rams, which was surprising. Cooper Kupp expressed that he didn't want to leave the Rams, but nevertheless was released and is now with the Seattle Seahawks and is going to...
he's from Washington.
Yep, so it makes sense on paper. He's going to link up with Sam Darnold, and Seahawks are putting together an interesting team up there. There's no doubt about it, but I do hope the Patriots are not done with signing some receivers. We had they had Stephon Diggs in.
They're going to sign.
He left without a deal. You have Tyler Lockett, who's available, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper. Now you mentioned these guys that not as solid as they were maybe 5-10 years ago, but still can provide you with some talent and a good veteran presence for Drake May.
They're going to sign that guy from Colorado. They're going to draft him.
You think they'll draft Travis Hunter over an offensive lineman?
Yeah, definitely.
Interesting. Well,
if they haven't filled the need at receiver.
Well, that's what I was sort of thinking too.
It's glaring that they're going to go after Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter. Well, what? Excuse me. Remains to be seen here for the Patriots. But
I wouldn't say I'd bet on it, but I'd bet on it.
Yeah. Well, I like the moves on the defensive side, but I'll sleep better knowing that they'll bring in another weapon or two for Drake May. But I still think the Patriots, at best, in year 1 of Mike Vrabel, are a wild card team. I certainly don't.
Taking the division.
You see them
taking the division.
overthrowing Buffalo.
Over Buffalo. Buffalo's ready to go.
Over Miami, too.
Oh, Miami's done. 2 attacks, it's 1 hit away, and that season is done. Again, like it's always going to happen with them. These guys are terrible at the front office. They're terrible at management. Chris Greer and this guy McDaniels.
Clay's a big fan of Mike McDaniel.
These guys are just, they're always an accident waiting to happen. To explain it away and blame someone else. It falls on their lap. The reason why Miami has bombed out the last 2 years is because of Chris Greer and Mike McDaniels. Both of them should have been fired 2 years ago. They never should have signed 2 attacks to another contract, knowing how fragile it is, and it affects the rest of the team. They're done.
Well, it remains to be seen. We'll certainly wait to see what happens in the AFC East.
The Patriots will beat the Miami Dolphins twice this year.
Well, there we go.
Even in Miami.
Clay, 2 quarterbacks remain unsigned. Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers both visiting. Of course, the report was Aaron Rodgers visited the Pittsburgh Steelers facility this past week, and it was a good visit, but left without a deal. Russell Wilson still has not been signed. Reports have linked him maybe to the Giants, maybe to the Browns, with, of course, Deshaun Watson not going to play next year. But the report last night that came out, Jameis Winston signing with the New York Giants, 2 years, $8 million. Wow. To me, that signals they have a quarterback that they'll probably start. Jameis Winston, the Giants are, and then they're
going to start Jameis Winston.
Well, here's the thing: they'll draft a quarterback, whether it's Sanders or Ward, to be the future quarterback. So, like what the Patriots did, you bring in Jacoby Brissett, and then you have Drake May waiting in the wings. That's why I expect the New York Giants to do. I don't think they're going to waste money on Russell Wilson. I think, if anything, I would predict Russell Wilson to go to Cleveland, and I would predict Aaron Rodgers to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And you know what? I feel so sorry for the fans of Cleveland because, yes, more than likely, the Cleveland Browns will hire. They will go sign Russell Wilson, much to everyone's dismay and horror.
And what does that do? I mean, and Deshaun Watson's been such a disappointment. You're bringing Russell Wilson.
They don't know what they're doing there. But here we go again. Pittsburgh. If Pittsburgh actually signs Russell Wilson, you're pairing a mediocre coach. Aaron Rodgers. You're pairing a mediocre coach with a mediocre player at this time of his career, and you're going to get more of what you had last year, Pittsburgh. Sorry, that's what it's going to be.
Well, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. There was reporting, too, that the Vikings were interested in Aaron Rodgers. A lot of people were intrigued to that because, of course, that's the Brett Favre prophecy. Fulfilling the prophecy. You go from the Packers to the Jets to the Vikings, and Aaron Rodgers maybe would have followed that same trajectory.
More like a curse.
But the Vikings obviously waking up from that nightmare scenario, and obviously not signing Sam Darnold in the offseason and letting him go and developing J.J. McCarthy to be the future of the Minnesota Vikings. But Russell Wilson visited Cleveland, visited the New York Giants. It doesn't look like the Giants are going to go for either Rodgers or Russell Wilson right now with how I look at it, signing Jameis Winston. Maybe it's possible if they don't plan on drafting a Sanders Award type quarterback, but it seems to me, Clay, with the way things are shaping out,
they will.
I would think Russell Wilson will be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns next year, and Aaron Rodgers will be the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
The lake, what is it? The city by the lake.
Lake Erie.
Yeah. Lake Erie. Cleveland. Oh, gosh.
That's going to be an interesting divisions. You have
endured so much.
AFC North, Russell Wilson remaining in the AFC North now, just with the Browns if this happens. Joe Burrow, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers now, and Lamar Jackson.
And I guarantee you, if they sign Russell Wilson, they will overpay him.
Like they did with Deshaun Watson.
More than overpay him. They will act like he's the savior to the city.
Yeah. There's just no other teams that need quarterbacks right now. And an interesting, too, down in Atlanta, they talked about what happened with Kirk Cousins. The Falcons couldn't find anybody to take Kirk Cousins' contract, so he's going to remain in Atlanta, be the backup for Michael Penix Jr. down there. Yeah. Just
cut him. Are they on the hook? They have to pay him anyway?
Yeah. So
that's terrible. That's another GM who needs to have been fired like years ago. Forget about this year. That's another guy who's dropped the ball every chance he has.
Well, here in the final minute here, enjoy the March Madness games throughout the weekend and Celtics in action as well. And we're getting ready for Red Sox opening day. And, of course, the NFL draft coming up in a month here. So a lot of great things to talk about here in the show. Thanks for all the calls. And we appreciate all the opinions. We don't have to agree with them, but you have the right to say them here on the show. And we appreciate all the calls. And we will be back next week, of course, for our final show here in the month of March here in 2025, getting ready to head towards April here, and some great things here in and around the Boston area in the sports world. So,
what was that thing we had with George Foreman? What was his saying there? Read the Bible. It's your roadmap through life. George Edward Foreman.
Indeed.
Rest in peace.
Have a good weekend, everybody. We'll see you next week.
And the other side, it's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. Everybody get exposed.